whenever you're ready to go. Oh, yeah. Let me get there. Okay. Can everybody see my screen right? Oh, I may have to switch these around. Okay. Can everybody see the full screen there now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Perfect. So while I'm going through this, if you have questions, please write them down because I'm gonna do a little bit of a training, and then really what I want out of this training and what I think Tony and everybody want is just to help you guys out any way I can. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go through a closing training. Well, really, kind of starts at the beginning and then goes through the whole process of closing and that side of things. But any questions that you guys have throughout this presentation or anything like that, let me know. Like I said, just write them down. And then also, if there's other things that you guys have questions on, if there's things that you guys are running into, we're going to address all that stuff. I'm going to make this pretty open for them after I get done with this training for all of us, just kind of talk about what's going on, what we're seeing, and anything, any tips and tricks that I have, or any things that we can talk through to help out. So, like I said, we're going to go over really, we want to get closing. I know that I saw the email that Diana sent out with all the numbers and different things like that. We're getting into some presentations, we're getting into a lot of different things. So we're doing the legwork, we're getting in front of these decision makers, we're actually, getting to those presentations. So we work so hard to get there. All right. So what are we going to do to make the most out of every opportunity that we get when that decision maker is going to actually give us their time? But really, this is where it starts. All right. And I do love this quote. This was from my AD just in general. Is Monday is where we make our money, and then the rest of the week's where we go and pick it up. If we don't have good structured Mondays where we are holding ourselves accountable, not just our management holding us accountable to things, we need to look internally at this and take control of our own business. I think that's a lot of what this really overall training really I want you to take out of this is that we've got to take control of our own business. All right. We've got to be like, I am a business owner now. It is up to me to go make my own paycheck. It is up to me to go kill what I eat, as they say. So we should have specific goals every single Monday that we're setting. So I think that we should be having weekly goals. I think that we should be having monthly goals. I think that we should have quarterly goals. I think we should have yearly goals. But I think that we need to also make sure that those goals are out in front of us and we know what we need to do to attain them. It's really great to set goals and have all of that. But if we don't have a plan on how to get there, it's just a goal with really no way to get there. So that starts with our 10 blocks every single week. All right. That's your goal for yourself. Really, it shouldn't be a goal. It should be more just a standard that you're setting for yourself is that 10 block. We are not in a W-2 situation anymore. We're not punching a time clock. We're not doing those types of things. This 10 block of time is 100% for all of us to be able to plan out our weeks, do our different things, and make sure that we know what we have planned for that week. I have to do the exact same thing for myself, even when I'm working from home on Fridays. When I come in on a Friday morning, the very first thing that I do when I sit down is I write down all the stuff that I need to get done, all the meetings that I have, and then the times that I'm allotting to get there. Because if I don't, I know when I first started this, I was all over the place. And I felt like I would be doing one thing at a certain time and then I get distracted, start doing something else, and I didn't get my main goal finished. All right. So with this Monday, with your Mondays, with the schedule that we have set, hold yourself accountable to doing those things at that time. Um, if we are doing pack calls or qualifying leads, that's the time that we're doing that. If we're building routes and doing research, we're doing that at that time. We're not doing deductions or calling people or, working on quality things. Like we need to set aside specific time for each thing that we're doing. And then your route building has so much to do with you closing cases every single week. Making sure that you are getting in front of decision makers when they are going to be in the businesses. All right. I know that I've done some trainings on this. We actually are just now. I just had a couple different webinars about this, so I'm not going to dig really into this because you guys actually just listened to almost a whole month of us talking about route building and preparation and some different things like that. But this is one of the biggest things overall that we should be looking at. We got to fix our mindset on things, all right? And a lot of this can start with a morning routine. I know that not all of us are morning people. I know that sometimes it's not fun to get up a little bit earlier or do different things of that nature. But what you put into your brain and what you're doing throughout the morning before you're starting walk-ins has a lot to do with how your day's going to go. If you wake up 10 minutes before you're supposed to leave the house and start your first, like head to your first walk-in and you're like rushing out of the house and you're not ready up and ready to go, that's going to translate into the rest of your day. All right. If you're not getting up, making sure that you are ready to go, that is going to hurt your business. I'm just going to be straight up with you. Being more prepared, having your ducks in a row, being ready to go. For me, I have to have caffeine. I'm not going to act like I don't. So I make sure that I have time to stop for my coffee or stop and, get an energy drink or different things like that and decompress and all of those different things. Now, this is something that I never thought I would put on a slide. I used to be very, if you see me running, you should also run type of person for sure. I will say in the last like 3, 4 months, I've actually been going to the gym, not in the mornings, but just in general, trying to make sure that one, I'm taking care of my body. All right. We always talk about so many things, controlling what we can control. And I'm not saying you need to go to the gym and pump iron for an hour and a half. But even if, you go for a walk in the morning or in the afternoons and get a little bit of exercise, one, you're going to feel better about yourself. Two, I have so much more energy. Like it's actually crazy. Just by getting out, being a little bit more active, it is wild that if we take care of ourselves a little bit more, our body takes care of us as well. Some another thing that I've tried to incorporate as much as possible. I actually need to be better on this because I am not as consistent as I should be. I'm probably hitting 2 or 3 days a week in the mornings. I try to have some sort of reading that I've got going on. I've got a devotional that I do, but it's really helped me personally get ready for the day, get myself in the right mindset, make sure that I'm putting my best foot forward. Now that we have a good morning routine, let's talk about what our closing mindset should be. Because if we go into a business and we walk in, we're like, man, I really hope I get in front of a decision maker, or, I really want to set this appointment. Those are all great things to do, but that's not our end goal. All right. We should go into every single business with a chip on our shoulder that if we are taking the time out of our day to go into that business that should qualify for our worksite program, that we're going in with the intention of closing it right then and there. Okay. If we can get in the mindset that we are confident that we have the ability in ourselves and our system to go out and run the play correctly, we are going to do better. All right. If every single walk in, we can be more intentional on walking in confidently, walking in, talking to the decision maker, confidently asking those questions about research. That is going to help us in our business. These decision makers are vetting us from the second we walk in. We don't know who the decision maker is when we walk into a business in a lot of situations. It could be the person standing off to the side or the person sitting at the desk. So, how we carry ourselves into that business and how we project ourselves onto others is going to show a lot of that. We have to be determined. Personally, what I had to start doing in businesses is I started taking personal responsibility for the people that were in that business. Those employees, especially the ones that didn't have any benefits set up, I took it personally if they didn't do business with me on those situations. I'm not saying, you get a no and you should, start kicking yourself while you're down, but if you're determined to not let those employees and their employees down, and when they're in their darkest times, you are going to go farther in this business because you're going to be more determined to not just give up after that first no. You're going to rebuttal more often. You're going to have more emotion behind your voice because you actually care about the people that are in there. All right. We have to be determined. We can't just give up after that first no. I know that you all have been working on your post presentation rebuttals. Keep doing that. Keep being determined on getting better. All right. Keep doing those things that you're doing right now to work on your business. And then energy. Now, I'm not saying you have to be like me and going like the Kool-Aid man to every business. All right. I know that I've told you guys that before in the past, but we need to match the energy of what's going on in there. And if we don't know if we haven't been in that place before and it's not a library or something like that, we need to bring good, fun energy into places. We need to be smiling. We need to be energetic. We need to be excited about the opportunity that we're bringing into a business. If we walk into a business and, we say, hey, Robert, could you let, Bob know that Zane's here to see him? They're not going to be excited to see us. If a decision maker comes out and we're like, hey, man, I saw that this has been in the family for a few years. What happened there? Um, they are not going to care about it either. All right. You've got to bring good energy into every single business you go into. Be excited about it. Be excited to be the possibility of closing that business because I'm letting everybody know we're always one walk-in away from having a very good day, week, and really month or year. All right. One walk-in can change that for you. Just simply because one, you can walk in and close that business. You can get referrals from that business that will open up other doors and opportunities for you. Okay. So don't take walk-ins off, I guess, is one of the things that I want to make sure that we're doing. We also need to be actively listening. Okay. I know that it's hard to do, and especially when we work on our script so much that it's hard to you hear the first thing that they say and you're thinking about how you're going to respond to that. All right. We need to be actively listening to make sure that we are responding in a way that we are hearing what they are saying and respecting that and acknowledging it. But we also need to make sure that we're hearing the full rebuttal. Okay. I know a lot of decision makers will start things with things they don't really care about so much and end the sentence with things they do. If we're rebuttaling the thing that they said first that they don't really care about, they're going to know we weren't listening to them at the end. They're going to see that as disrespectful. They're not going to care about it. Let them explain what they're saying fully, okay? Don't cut them off. All right? These are very type A type of people that we're dealing with. These are all business owners just like you that took a chance on themselves. So we have to actively listen to what they're saying so that we know how we should actually properly rebuttal, and they're going to see that as a sign of respect. And then really, we've got to be assertive and assumptive. We need to go in there really just telling them that they're going to do business with us is the best way to put it. Um, they are not, these decision makers get in the habit of saying no. We have to get them in the, I guess, in the yes mindset is one of the best ways to put it. But we have to be assumptive. When we're asking, hey, I realize you may be busy, but is now a good time? You're walking towards their office. You're being assumptive to get into that. We're using our assumptive close at the end. We're not just getting to the end of the presentation and saying, well, what do you think about that? Or how do you feel about that? Or, do you have any questions for me? No, we're presenting, we have a product that people should be doing business with us. It does not make sense for them not to. It's a little bit more admin work, but all that's all it is. All right. Everything else that we do is a benefit. We're giving them accidental death coverage. We're giving them a discount card even if they don't pick up anything. We're giving them group rates and access to policies they can't get out by themselves. We need to start carrying ourselves like that in a business. All right. And then one of the big things, I know that a few of you have heard me talk about this before, but I'm going to talk about it again. This benefit fact sheet can single-handedly close your cases. This right here is how you figure out where those gaps are. We have it in our scripts that, we're not trying to replace anything you currently have, but we're actually trying to fill some gaps in your current policy. This is where we figure out if they have gaps. If we don't know where those gaps are, or we don't present to show them where our gaps are, they are not going to care about what we have to say. All right. If we don't fix a problem for them, they will not do business with us. So we need to make sure every single presentation, not just some, not a few, every single presentation. If we don't have time to go through this benefit fact sheet and sit down and present to them an assumptive close, we need to reschedule it for another time where we have this time. Okay. We can't do presentations in 5 minutes. You try to do a presentation in 5 minutes, that is not going to close. You are not going to be able to pick up paperwork. We all know how hard it is to get back in front of decision makers. We need to make sure we have the time that we have Respect your time, respect their time. Okay. If you do your presentation in 5 minutes, you're not respecting your own time. You have taken the time to to qualify this business. You have taken the time to research this business. You have taken the time to go and drive to that business. And I don't know how many times it took you to get there before you got in front of that decision maker. Don't shoot yourself in the foot by not fully presenting to people just because that's a little bit more comfortable, okay? They are going to respect you more for saying, "No, actually I can't really get through the information the right way in this situation. I want to make sure that you have a full understanding of what I have going on and how I can really benefit your business. I have this time or this time available, which actually is going to work better for you there." Okay? And then right here, I we need to make sure that we're asking, where we're going to fill in the gaps. If they have Aflac, if they have Colonial, if they have some other different benefit provider, we need to figure out where they're at. If they have no supplemental benefits, that's pretty easy to fit in through the presentation on why they need some things in place. All right. If they have a lot of options, I guarantee they don't have a group term 65. And 90% of the time, what they have isn't portable. And we need to make sure that they have a good understanding of that. But they're also not going to listen to this if one, we haven't built good rapport with the research in the front end, and two, we aren't actually filling that gap through the presentation. All right. And especially if they have low participation, all right, they're not benefiting from the tax savings. Their employees obviously don't have a good understand or grasp of what the benefits actually do for us. So we need to make sure that we are filling those things in throughout our presentation. And then I know that I've talked about it with you guys before, but if I'm talking about their health insurance, I know when I first got started, I didn't ask about health insurance because I was like, why do I care? We don't even sell health insurance. Who cares about that? This helps me, again, figure out what they do and don't like about whatever their current provider is. Okay. I'm going to ask them, who do you health insurance through? Is it Anthem Blue Cross? Is it, one of the other ones? How's that going? Most of the time, it's, hey, actually, it was really great at first. We had, pretty low rates for the first couple years, but then after we were out of that introductory period, they jacked our rates up. Or, it's really great, but it's hard to get a hold of our agent and, we've got to call 800 numbers to figure stuff out. Or just in general, it's too expensive. All right. So I'm going to fill that in through our presentation. I'm going to let them know, hey, every single person has my personal cell phone number. I don't want them coming to you, Tony. I want them coming to me for any of the questions that they have. And then also using this deductible and this max out of pocket to tailor it to them. Okay. If we know that their max out of pocket is $8,000, one, we're getting ready to show them that we're actively listening through the presentation and we didn't just get their business information for no reason. Because when it comes to the critical illness slide, I'm going to pull that up and I'm going to be like, for somebody that's under 35 years old, I know that I can get them enough coverage to cover their max out of pocket for 86 cents a week. Isn't that crazy? 86 cents a week, that's it. Nothing's under a dollar anymore, right? You know, use these things to your advantage. Gain these little bits of buy-in throughout your presentation to get them picturing you in their business and picture why you're actually there. And really, if you don't know where our tie downs are throughout the presentation, please work on your presentation. All right. If I tell you there are 10 tie downs and you're like, I only know like four of them, go through your presentation, figure out where these yeses are. Okay. We should be getting 10 yeses throughout this presentation. This is going to keep the DM engaged. Okay. One, because we're getting them to agree to what's going on, we're having that conversation back and forth with them. We know that they're not reading their emails or doing different, or talking to employees or doing different things like that, or just not listening to us in general. We know that they're engaged. It also is going to gain buy-in. Like I said, those DMs are so used to saying no all day. They've got no-itis. All right. We need to get them back in the habit of saying yes, yes, yes. And again, with our body language and nodding along when we're having these. And not only that, we're not saying these tie downs as statements. That's what I see a lot. Is we may be saying them, but we're not saying them as questions. So, just for example, you'd be like, "Hey, so I'd say you understand that most people would rather get their benefits through work on an individual basis, right? So let me explain some of that. So we're not asking it as a question, we're telling them, okay? Use these little wins throughout the presentation. Get that yes. Of course, people would rather get their benefits through work. Nobody likes to take time out of their day or their weekend to go and talk to the financial people. I guarantee you that. I know I don't. I'm getting ready to have to do that here in like a month, and I'm not looking forward to it. I'm actually dreading it, and I am friends with the person. Okay? So they would rather do that. They would rather go through their business and actually be getting paid while they're sitting down and talking to us. All right? Not only that, it closes out our points. It makes sure that we are not spending too much time over explaining our presentation because I see that in a lot of situations is that if we're not sticking with the script and we are adding in every dollar amount, we're adding in every single little thing that we've heard other people do with their presentation, and our presentation takes over 30, 40 minutes. That's a really big decision at that time. Of course, they have to think about it. Of course, they don't want to bring you in and waste your time and have to pull the employees. All right. We need to make sure that we're keeping our presentation between that 15 and 20-minute window. All right. I'm not saying that you can't build rapport. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be building a good relationship with them, but you should not be in a business for an hour presenting. All right. You have made it too big of a decision for them. Let's cut it back. I know that you guys have been working on some presentations with the management and some different things like that. I know that I've talked about it before. Guys, go out and record yourself. If you care about your business, if you care about your family, if you care about your generational future, go record yourself. It is not fun. I hate it. I still listen to myself on webinars. Jeff recorded my last one that I did for this 180 rollout, and I hated it. Mostly because I actually had to hear myself and hear all of the filler words that I throw into things and the random times where I'm like, where was I even going there? I don't understand what trail I went down, and I have to wiggle back now too. Okay? It makes you better. It makes you hear it. It makes you actually understand where you're lacking in your presentation. Okay. And then the assumptive close. If you're not using the assumptive close, you are not going to close very many cases. That's all there is to it. You are not going to close as many cases as you should be. You have to make sure that they feel like they've already made that decision. All right. The decision should be simple and obvious already. All right. Like I said, we're giving them accidental death. We're making sure that their families are protected. We do have pretty decent rates on what's going on. We're sitting down, we're working with them on a budget of what they can afford when we're sitting down and enrolling them now. Okay. This should make sense for everyone. All right. Don't get in our own way. Our goal is to make our closing confident, natural, and engaging, but we don't have that awkward pressure because we have that assumptive close and then we're leaning on the pen and we're making them stop us from doing the paperwork pretty much. So why do we do it? Of course, it's going to build that momentum. I know it's really easy. You go through that last slide, and you kind of get there, and you can feel it. Like, okay, so this is how it's going to work. And I'm going to come in. I'm going to sit down with each one of your employees. We're going to get them those new cost offers. All I really care about, all that we really ask of you is that those employees that do want to protect their families, they do so through payroll deduction. What do you think? That kills that momentum right there. All right. Okay, so, but before that, like you are stopping yourself right there. You're stopping yourself from carrying that momentum from that great presentation that you've worked on and try to get better at and killed the momentum right there. All right. If we don't ask it, we're not going to get it. Again, it establishes confidence too. They are vetting us. Like I said, they're figuring out, okay, can this person carry themselves confidently? Can they handle my employees giving them some crap when they come in and they're enrolling? Are they actually going to get buy-in from my employees and really show them where they need coverage so that I don't actually waste my time with this? Not only that, they're not going to have as many objections. All right. And then not only, and it creates that sense of urgency that it's going to make it to where they feel like they need to make that decision right then. All right. So I'm going to go into what that script is here in a second, but we need to make sure that we are using our tie down phrases such as, wouldn't you agree? I know that there's a lot of those different things within there. We also need, I know I talk about it a lot, make eye contact with people. Don't be looking down, don't be looking up. When you're having a conversation with somebody, look them in the eye and make sure that you are having that connection. Okay? That one, psychology wise, actually builds a connection with people. Two, it shows them that you're confident in what you're talking about and you're not just flying by the seat of your pants. And three, it will just make your whole overall interaction a lot better. All right. Now, I'm not saying stare through their soul. You need to break eye contact every now and again. Don't be creepy. All right, I'm talking to you, Ryder. And now we also need to make sure that we're delivering our message smoothly. All right, we don't need to have any awkward pauses or monotone reading. If we go through our presentation like we don't care about it, they don't care either. If we are monotoned and I always think of this is probably going to show my age a little bit, but whatever the Clear Eyes guy was, that always was super monotone throughout all the commercials and just was super boring. That's what I think of when I hear some people's presentations. All right, get excited about this. Okay, get excited about the opportunity that we're bringing to people. Get excited about the opportunity for yourself. Okay. Make it fun, make it like a game show, and have a really good high energy and bring that momentum into every single business because people want to be around people that way. If you go in smiling, having a good time, bringing good energy into somebody's business, they're gonna want you in there more. They aren't gonna want to just kick you to the roadside. If you're bringing negative energy and have your shoulders slumped and you're just kind of moping around into a business, I wouldn't want to do business with you anyways. All right. So what we can do this week is we can make sure that we are doing those things at least. And this is that assumptive close script that I was talking about. So if you're not doing this, again, you're holding yourself back. I know that I've told you guys examples in the past of agents that have went from closing one case in a week to closing six in 6 days. Okay. That was the only difference that they changed. Okay. I know that we feel very far away sometimes from really getting some close cases, really getting those conversions. A lot of times it's just a little bit of a switch that we've got to flip. And really, the switch that we've got to flip is really just following the system, guys. We've got to be on script. All right. I'm going to be a little bit more straightforward than I always am. What we're doing right now isn't working. All right. What you have been doing thus far is not getting results. Please follow this system, follow this script. I promise you, you will get more results. If you're upset about your paycheck this week, take an internal look and am I actually following this script? Am I doing things by the book? Am I making sure that my leads are correct or are actually qualified correctly? Am I asking for the decision maker? Am I hitting my walk-in goal? Like very simple things, okay? This business can be very, very simple and easy, but we make it really difficult and hard. All right? What we have to do is follow the system that's put in place that we have seen 11 years of straight growth. Stop doing it your own way. Just try it ours, okay? But with this, all we ask is the employees who want to protect their families do so through payroll deduction. This is also going to save both the company and employees money. I have Wednesday at 8 or Thursday at 12 available. Which one works best for you? And really, personally, what I would like here a little bit better is actually, I have Friday available when you have your safety meeting. I can actually bring some donuts in before it, or I can bring lunch after. Which one works best for you? Because we've asked them in that benefit fact sheet when people are around, when everybody's together. We've asked the right questions so that we know when we can actually do the benefit fact sheet. We need to make sure that we're presenting those two clear choices. One, it makes it not that we're making the decision for them. They're still making the decision, but we're giving them the options. So they're not saying no. All right. And then some more just straight up closing tips. Have your paperwork out and about. Benefit fact sheet, paperwork right there on the table when they come out. If you're using your iPad, you're using your iPad. But Even if you're doing an iPad, I would actually recommend having some physical copies of paperwork to put on the desk just for the psychology wise that they understand that your goal is when you get to the end of that presentation that you're filling that out. Okay. Not only that, but you're leaning into the pen. You get that, you you get to that assumptive close and you lean in and say, "Hey, I have Wednesday at 12 or Thursday at 9 available. Which one works best for you?" And then stop talking, okay? The first one to talk there loses, okay? I've seen so many agents talk their way out of closes in this situation to where now you're over explaining things on the back end, and now again, it's feeling like more of a decision. Assume the close and then shut up. Stop talking. Lean down on the pen and make them stop you from filling out the times that you're going to come down back and enroll their employees. And then if you're hearing no once and you're tucking tail and getting out of the door, you're hurting yourself and your own business. And actually, you're really hurting not only your business, but the next person that comes in there because you didn't do it the right way. All right. You should be getting at least three no's before you get out of a business. All right. When we're doing those rebuttals, all right, we're not coming at them with a tone of that we're angry at them. We're coming from a tone of understanding, but we are very confident that they still should be doing business with us, if that makes sense. All right. We need to make sure that we're friendly, but we need to also be very clear and decisive on what we say and how we say it. And then the next thing, I know that we talk about it on every webinar, but I'm always going to talk about it. This is the only cheat code we have in the business. I know that I said follow the system. All right. I just got done saying, I don't care what you're doing, what you did last week. Follow our system this week. This is the only cheat code I'll give you. This is the only shortcut you can use. These referrals. All right, guys. We, on average, if you get 5 actual business referrals, and this is again on the low side, if you get 5 business referrals, and all you got to do is ask and remember to, right? That's going to lead you into 2 presentations and you should close a case just from getting business referrals. All right. So this is when you're going to an re-enrollment for existing accounts. This is when also with existing accounts is when you are going in, you should be checking on your accounts every quarter. All right. You should be making sure that the customer service is good. You should be keeping your face in front of them so your re-enrollment goes well. Asking for them then when you're delivering the blue book. Actually, I probably got the most on the blue book than I did anywhere else simply because I had already asked 2 other times, and by the third time that I asked, they actually had thought about some places, and or I think they might have just been sick of me asking for them. During the enrollment, every single person that we sit down with is getting $3,000 in accidental death for themselves, their spouse, and a discount card. Get something out of it yourself, not only the individual referrals, but making sure that on the back end, when they're signing for that, that we're asking them if they have any friends or family that work in business, that own a business or anything like that. After each presentation, uh, I don't even care what you got to do. If you got to put a note on your benefit fact sheet, if you need to put another something on your presentation to remind yourself to ask for those business referrals, because sometimes we're not a good fit for somebody. There's those very rare occurrences where we aren't a good fit, but they will know people that we could be a good fit for. And if you've done your job the right way and you've built good rapport and you've really brought the value in what we're doing, they're going to have no problem giving you other businesses or other people that they do business with to do things. Now, I'm not saying go in and ask referrals for each walk-in on here. More what I mean is we're no matter what, even if we do things the right way, no matter what, we're going to go into a business that's accidentally incorporated out of state or they don't have enough employees or different things like that. Take advantage of those opportunities, build rapport, get some other businesses that we can take that lead that we couldn't close and turn it into one that we can. So, really, to recap, we need to go into every business with the intentionality, and we should feel like the decision maker is always already telling us yes. We need to be guiding every conversation between the gatekeeper, decision maker, the person outside the business, the customer in there. We should have confidence, energy, and purpose in everything that we do. We need to be using those tie downs. We need to know what those 10 tie downs are, and we need to actually use them to get those yeses throughout the presentation. Don't let yourself and your self-talk get in the way of closing cases. All right. Go in confident that you're going to close every single business. Bring some good energy and be professional. All right. And then just like the last lap of a race, you work so hard. You've ran all the laps around. All right. You've already made it. You've you've um, figured out which lead. You've got it qualified. Again, you've done research. You've put it on your route. You've been to it 3 or 4 times. You've finally got in front of that decision maker. You had to go in 2 or 3 other times just to finally get him to sit down with you. Don't walk through the finish line. Assume the close, be confident, and ask for it. Okay? So that is pretty much what I had as far as the my presentation goes. I know again I kind of threw a decent amount of information out all at you all at the same time. Now I want to open this up to you guys. What are we seeing in the field? What can I help with? What do we feel like is really getting in our way and help making us not close these businesses that
Zane,
we're
let me
presenting with?
say, raise your hand if you don't know how to raise your hand so that not everybody speaks at once. So if
Oh,
you
okay.
can,
So
right, that way we're able to get. So if you don't know, go down to React and you can raise your hand, and then Zane can then go through the questions that way.
perfect.
By the way, good job. I got lots of takeaways. These are several takeaways from Zane. That's very good.
Good. All right, we got Ben. Ben, you're first.
All right.
I almost already expected it. If you want to know the truth, I knew you were coming with something.
What do
So,
you mean?
what do you
Whoa,
got for
whoa,
me here, big
whoa.
dog? And
What do
if I
you
hear
mean?
a one-off question that happened to you 6 months ago.
Believe it or not, it didn't happen to me 6 months ago. It actually just happened to me this past week. Don't
Okay, no,
even
you're
go there,
good.
my man.
I'm
No,
just giving you crap. You're good. What's up?
believe it or not, I did the entire process, went through everything, did that assumptive close. However, the business owner looked right at me and said, "Come back in 6 months because I don't feel that my employees want it." Regardless of how many times I counteracted that question, got everything correct, it was still come back in 6 months. How would you go about trying to counteract that one with our process, following everything, and doing that if they've already set up their mindset to do something like that? How can you change that?
So what we've got to do in those situations, we've got to create a sense of urgency for them. Okay. Obviously, we have our script on. Let me talk to the employees. We're obviously going to try to set up that group presentation in any way, shape, or form. But at this point, really, you've been doing this long enough. You probably have some instances where you've went into a business and not got them closed, and then you come back the next time and somebody's had an accident or somebody has came down with cancer or some different things like that. I mean, even me personally, I had one where I could not get the decision maker to make the call to home office because we weren't on the automatic certification list. I went back in there to go get that set up for them, and they had which was their fifth employee, so I then couldn't do business with them. Had fallen off a ladder and broke his back. All right. So we've got to do what we can to create a good sense of urgency for them and bring real life examples to them of what has happened or, you know, ways that you have had things happen. And it's like, if nothing else, let me at least get them the free policies. And then, but also on the same note with that, don't see that as an L. Okay. He obviously saw the value in it because he literally asked you to come back in 6 months. It wasn't that, I don't think that they're going to be interested ever. It was that I just don't think right now makes sense. So there's really two ways to look at it. But yeah, always to create that sense of urgency for them because they're not going to have that. They're going to see this as insurance that's going to take time out of their day. They're not going to, and really, I will also, when I'm going through sorry, that one popped up in my head as well too. On the benefit fact sheet, when we're asking who that payroll person is, or there's a decision maker that is in that business, or not decision maker, if there's somebody that you've connected with in that business, when I'm going through things, asking those questions, I'm gonna be like, okay, so Betty out there, do you think that she has enough money right now to take care of her final expenses? Or, hey, say if Betty was, right now about to come down with cancer, do you think that she would have enough saved up if she was out of work for 3 months to pay for her bills? You know what I mean? Make it personal for them. Yeah, really make sure that. So, does that answer any of those questions for you?
Oh yeah, it answers them. Trust me, Zane, on that one. I had already done everything. I've left the door wide open for 6 months. She just wants to wait at this point just to see how everything goes, which I
Yeah.
understand. Even though
Yeah.
I made the same thing, hey, you never know what's around the corner, everything else. It was still, no, let's just wait and see because all of my employees are on financial hard times. You know, holidays are coming up. I want to make sure that they have enough rather than worrying
Yeah.
about this.
So
So,
Zane,
Uh,
let me add to that real
uh,
quick, just because I know we're on a fixed amount of time and I want to be able to get questions in. Um, So I appreciate that. Ben, I appreciate the question. And hey, why not 6 more months of tax savings? We're missing that
yeah.
6 months of payroll tax savings. But the reality is it's a follow-up. So all the things that you did, all the things that you said, is probably what is going to get you back in there in 6 months. If you didn't do those things, it might have just been a hard no. It might have just been you know what? I don't think this is for us. But the digging that you did within the process in the system most likely earned you that return in 6 months, right? So, Ryder, I see that you have a question, so we'll get Ryder, and then if anybody else has a question, raise your hand. Zane's got about, I'm gonna say 10 to 15 minutes at most.
So mine after this actually got canceled, so I've
Oh,
got
okay.
time. So I
Nice.
meant to tell you that, but I didn't. So we're good on my
I was
end. Just
protecting
I don't
your
want to take,
time frame, man. All right, so
and I
good.
appreciate that. And then one last thing before I do go to you, Ryder, just for everybody. When it starts coming around this time, what I like to do is I will tell people that I've had a lot of clients that actually like to use our introductory offers as a Christmas bonus because if they're, especially in that situation, if they're on hard times, if they're not making very much money, that means that boss probably doesn't have enough money to pay Christmas bonuses. So I will say, hey, we use what I'm doing as a Christmas bonus for your employees, and I've seen people light up at that and be like, "Oh yeah, that's actually a really good idea." But that's just for everybody. But yeah, go ahead, Ryder.
All right, so not my last few presentations, but several presentations that I've set for follow-ups in the last 2 months. The follow-ups have kind of fallen through, which I've been doing more bigger businesses, so that could be it. But one of them, for example, he wanted to schedule a Zoom one Monday, so I sent him my Zoom link, and he never showed up. And then whenever I went back in there, he kept putting me off, and I've had probably two or three do that. So these last few presentations I've done for follow-ups, I've been following up religiously. At what point is too much follow-up, and how do you get these people to not essentially ghost you after a presentation?
Um, that's hard. That's hard. I'm not gonna act like it's not. Um, I don't really ever give anybody a, "Hey, you need to stop following up" in this situation. I don't because I don't know what the conversations were in the business. I don't know what the feel of those different things are. As far as like tips and tricks on, how to make sure that we're following up with people, obviously using that 5-step follow up. But for me, I'm not coming back in that situation, probably like with that Zoom. I'm probably coming in with some sort of treat. I may get a dozen donuts for the people in the office and come in and be like, hey, I know I missed you on that Zoom, and then going and building that rapport, doing those different things. Psychology wise, if we give people something, they're a lot more likely to give us their time. And I didn't like doing that at first. Like I felt very weird getting another man a gift. Like I would bring guys jerky and stuff like that. I was like, this is very weird. I don't even know this guy. But it really will go leaps and bounds. And I'm not saying you need to spend $1,000 or go buy pizzas for the whole place. You can literally go to Dollar Tree, put treat bags together, and be like, hey, I brought some, Thanksgiving treats for everybody, or some like Christmas things, or whatever it is. But as far as that goes, just making sure, even with those follow ups, you're being assumptive. Going in, building that rapport, and not just being like, hey, so what are you thinking about it? It's, hey, I know that, you had to think about this part of things. I've got this time and this time available. Really, what you're trying to do on those follow ups is really pull out what their actual rebuttal is. Because most of the time, that first one was trying to just get you out of the room. You know what I mean? So we've got to figure out what that actual rebuttal is so that we can actually fix that problem for them.
Zane, just to hit on it, because you said one that I like, but I want to make sure that we list it out. So the five-step follow-up, can you break
Mhm.
that down in a little more detail?
Yes. So the five-step follow-up, you guys are going to be really thrown off. The very first part is rapport. That's number one step. Yeah, weird. Never would have thought that. Number one, you're going to build rapport. And then number two, you're going to go in and reestablish the value. So no matter what, I guarantee there's something that they liked about our presentation. Whether it was that everybody got stuff for free, that our group term 65 was paid up at 65, that we're 100% permanent and portable. We want to get them to remember what's going on or why they were even considering doing business with us. Then at that point, we are going to address whatever their objection was. So, whatever objection they had, whether it was they needed to talk to their partner, they needed to think about it, they wanted to pull their employees, whatever. Doesn't matter what they say, we're going to be like, "Hey, I completely understand that you wanted to talk to the employees. I'm not going to ask them how that went." Because the fourth thing is pretty much just go back and assume the close, like I was saying there. The fourth step is go in, tie it down. Tie it down with assuming the close and with your two times and days. And then the fifth point is crush that new objection because most of the time that's when their real objection comes out. And I do have a PowerPoint on that too that I can send to you, Tony, as well, that breaks all of it down a little bit more.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. Any other questions from anybody else? I don't see the hands, so I'm gonna just assume either we don't have questions or we don't know how to raise the hand. So at this point, since we
Oh,
got out a little bit, let's you can unmute and ask your questions. So if anybody else has a question, feel free to ask. Oh, I saw a hand there, didn't I?
yeah, it was Ben.
It was me, just having it. But I do actually have a question for you, Zane.
Yeah, what's
So,
that?
on your assumptive close for these new agents that'll be coming through who may not, be quite as, you know, charismatic as you are, but need that little bit of extra oomph. Their presentation's 100%, they're good, they're just out of classroom. How do you go about building the confidence on that assumptive close to get them to their first close case?
As far as confidence on it, I mean, just remembering that one, if you just started out, no matter what, you still have your life and health insurance license. You know more than 95% of the population when it comes to insurance. You've had to pass that life insurance exam. You've not only done that, but you've also went through our classroom training, which is great. You have all the tools that you actually need to be there. You just have to use them, okay? Um, it's really hard. It's really a lot easier said than done. I'm not going to act like it's not on the assumptive close, but you also have to remember what your goals are. Put your goals in front of you and what you're wanting to get out of this opportunity in this career, and remember that. Because whether it's you're wanting to get a new car, whether you're just wanting to not have to take a calculator to the grocery store, which was one of my first goals, which was great. What if you're wanting to build generational wealth with those renewals, whatever it is, put that in front of you so that you won't let you getting just a little bit uncomfortable get in the way of you closing cases. This business is going to make you uncomfortable. That's really what this is. Every single thing, every single day, we are getting uncomfortable. Um, and just for example, with that, I still have to get uncomfortable all the time. When I came and did your guys' rollout, I had never presented to that amount of people before on different things. So no matter whatever level you get into this business, you're gonna get uncomfortable. So one, sorry, but get used to it. But two, when you feel like you're uncomfortable, that's a good thing. Because when you push past that and do things the right way, that means that the other people that aren't going to do it the right way didn't push through there. And you're going to get farther than them and you're going to do better in your career than they ever did or they ever will.
Zane, can I add two things to that too? Ben, this is
Yep.
a really good question for you as a leader as well, because a lot of the confidence that our new people get is 100% transferred from their leaders. So that is going to come from how you portray yourself and how you go into businesses, because remember, we're showing them right off the bat what it's supposed to look like. So if we are meek, or if we are unsure, or if we throw them in too early and we haven't shown them what that success looks like, then that's where they're going to feed off of that lack of confidence or the unsure. The other part is the windshield training. So the only reason that people are confident in their assumptive close and able to say that sentence without hesitating is because they've done it 1,000 times. Just like if you've gone to an enrollment and I can say the same thing over and over and over, and I don't even have to think about it anymore. I can say my assumptive close. I can say my 30-second commercial. The only way these guys learn how to do that and do it with confidence and the charisma is when they've seen somebody do it. So that's our leadership. And when they've practiced it literally 45,000 times a day, which is also our leadership. So we have to be able to show them with true life examples. So that has to be happening in the car every single walk-in, before we go in, after we go in, reflecting, doing it again, just like we do with ourselves. If we haven't learned our presentation or our objections, we're practicing that. Same thing with our close. It needs to be happening until they're so sick of it that they're saying it in their sleep.
All right, I got to add to that. It's so funny that you said that, Diana. That was my note. It was right there. Windshield training.
Yep.
So as Zane, you were talking, my
Don't
note
act
was,
like we could read that, Tony.
well, listen, Dr. DeFilippo
Yeah.
would would
Yeah.
like to write a note for you. So no, it was growth is uncomfortable. It's called growing pains for a reason. Everything that I've ever had in my life that helped me grow or uh, got from growth, there was pain associated with it. Uncomfortability, whatever you want to call it, right? But Diana, you're exactly right. So the windshield training equals the agent's confidence. So if the assumptive close, if they have only said it 5 times, and then you're like, "Go, Zane, you got this." You're like, "Shit, man, I rode the bike 5 times, and now you want me to pop a wheelie?"
Yeah.
But if we've said it 25 times, now I have the confidence of the repetition behind me. And so 100%. I want to see if there's any other questions. If not, I'll go through the bullet points that I took away from it, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. But who else? Anybody else have any questions?
I can ask one more if you guys would
You've
allow
reached
me
your
to.
you've reached your limit, Ben. You get 2 questions.
That's fair. I mean, I need to put another quarter in the machine to get another player, right?
That's exactly right. All right, let me see. Anybody else have any questions?
Ben, just text me your question. I'll get with you on it after.
That's more than fine, Zane. I do appreciate it.
Cool.
I, for one,
I
will
hear
like
Wyatt.
to hear Ben's question.
I also want to hear Ben's question.
Wait,
We don't have any
where's
more questions. We'll field Ben's
give me a
question.
second, Wyatt. I'm trying to find the mute button for you real quick.
Oh, did we lose Ben?
No, he's there still.
All right, Ben, give us that question if nobody else has a question.
I'm gonna take silence as I can go. So, Zane, with these assumptive closes, what is your best takeaway for all of us that are doing the presentations, doing everything to the best of our ability? What are your processes to somehow tweak what we may be doing in order to get just that little bit of extra that we need to cross that one little boundary that is hemming everything up? What are your processes? What's your mindset of going through all of that so that we can take something like that away and kind of mold it into what we're already doing?
Really ask for help, work on it with, you know, present to your fellow people. Record yourself. So for me, one of the things that was eye-opening for me when I first got started was Robert Peebler from the Knuckles Agency. He's a top AD, writes a ridiculous amount of premium every year, and he could still pull up from when he was an agent the recordings of him going through his script and his presentation, where he would be like, he would just listen to them on repeat in the car so he could get better on them and get to where he needs to do. Um, Work on just getting better. That's the most important thing is that if you don't know where you're at and you don't know what you need to work on, most of the time it's because you haven't heard it for yourself. I always say the recording thing is like you always have that spouse, that friend that has that spouse or girlfriend, boyfriend that's just cheats on them, toxic, terrible for them. But they always just think they're great until they see it for themselves and they're like, okay, cool, I'm done. Now I need to fix this. It's just the same way when you hear yourself when you're going through different things. Um, but not only that, make sure we're fixing a problem for them. Like I said throughout this is if we don't tell them where they're lacking in what's going on, if we don't make sure we're building not just surface level rapport, if we're not prepared and that side of things, we're not going to get the close cases that we need. So first, I take a look at the things I can control, and that's myself and what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And then two, I start looking into how I'm actually doing things.
Awesome. Thank you, Zane. I appreciate that.
No
So next
problem.
week, those of you that we did record, because then we talked about this a little bit, the recertifications, you'll be getting your recordings and your score sheets. I know I think I've met with everybody now, uh, and we had improvement across the board. Everybody improved from the first recertification to the second. So I know we're headed in the right direction. And Zane, today, I think you gave us some more tools that we can use to just keep getting a little bit better, and that's going to be the difference in turning this thing into close cases. So I absolutely appreciate your time. Here's just some quick takeaways on my end. Um, if your week starts right on Monday, it goes right Tuesday through Friday. Next would be assumptive. Then there's a difference, assertive slash assumptive. You don't have to be pushy. There's a line, but assumptive is okay. We have value. Understand what you have to offer has value. The benefit fact sheet and the importance of it. Uh, it's really the gap roadmap, and that's what you then can find where you can bridge those gaps for the people, right? Um, then hey, as deductibles go up, and it's potential that we're going to see deductibles start going up if premiums start going up on health plans, the need for supplementals like us goes up because what do? We cover that out of pocket. So even if prices go up, deductibles will go up in suit, and then the need for supplementals will follow behind that to fill that gap. And then the longer the presentation, the bigger the decision you make it for them. Um, Again, assumptive close, you pop that up on the screen. 10 tie downs. How many of those do you know? We talked about film yourself, and then 5 referral leads will get you to a close, right? Would you rather run 60 to 70 sales genie leads, or would you rather run 5 referral leads? Let's just looking at that math, right?
And they're more fun.
Yeah, right.
Really, you have better interactions.
Connection. Yeah. The last one I'll give you, and I think this is what I would title this video is you're only one walk away from a good day. You're only one walk in away from a good day. That's a good one and very true. So man, I appreciate your time very much on this. Is there anything you want to close it out with?
Really, like I said throughout there, all right, we've been doing a little bit of what we want. We've been kind of, I feel like I consider what we do a bowling lane almost. to where as long as we stay in that lane, we're good. As long as we're in there, I want you to be yourself. I want you to do those different things. Now we've been playing on each other's other people's lanes for a little while. So what I want everybody to do for these next couple weeks, focus on staying in that lane. Follow the system, use the gatekeeper script, use the decision maker script, use your rebuttals the right way. What we're doing right now isn't getting us the results we want. So get on track. If you don't feel like you're on track, get on in between those bumpers, all right, and stay there. And I promise you, it's gonna feel uncomfortable, but you will see the results. All right? That's the biggest thing that I want to get out of this. Follow the system, do it the right way. I have faith. I know that your management cares about you guys getting better. I know that you all want to do better. So use these things that we're talking about because all of these things don't matter if we don't implement them. All right. These trainings, all the recertifications don't matter if we don't actually go do them in businesses. So take what we have and go implement them in these businesses this next week because I have faith that you guys can do it. I know that you guys can do so much business, so many closed cases. I know what talent and how caring and how amazing this agency is. Now let's go show it. All right.
Thank you, Zane. All right,
No
guys.
problem. Have a good one.
Zane, thanks for your time.